There you go. Yes. Right, that's good.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Turbocast 24th December 2010. I'm Simon. I'm joined by Dr. Brownell. How are you, Doctor?
I'm wonderful, Sam. I'm full of, festive anticipation.
Digestion news.
Christmas is often a time of a variety of digestion news because you've had a lot of close calls over the years with your Christmas dinner, haven't you?
Yeah, quite a regular thing. I traditionally go out on Christmas Eve for a decent scoop, and then it's something of a tightrope walk Christmas dinner time because you've got a huge plate, and I'm feeling a bit iffy.
Yeah.
So I've come very, very close on a number of occasions to, coughing it all back up.
I believe 93 was the closest ever, and the reason I know this is because I was living in the USA at the time when you wrote me a letter about it.
All right.
And 93 was so bad that you couldn't tackle the Christmas dinner in real time. It had to be stored away and presented to you at about 5 o'clock in the evening.
All right. Yeah, I just had to sit there very, very quiet, a bit grey, and just watch for the best.
Watch the Queen and then see how you feel.
Yeah, I know one year I couldn't eat it, but it wasn't because of ale. It's because I had the sorest throat any human being has ever had. Just like somebody had scooped the skin off with a razor blade. Anything that went near my throat, was the most painful thing ever. So I'd sit at the table and watch everybody eat the dinner. That was wonderful, but drink wasn't involved there.
I've had some terrible sore throats in my time. I don't think you could have topped some of mine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Every time I swallowed it just made me cry. And I don't cry.
I remember I once had atypical pneumonia, and I remember the sore throat I had as the prelude to that was very, very bad. And it started on a flight from Hong Kong to Bahrain, and I'd endured, I think it was an 11-hour flight. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't really drink, just had to sit there with 2 flaming golf balls trapped in me gullet.
Yeah. Well, I've had a biopsy on my throat, and that was much more pleasant than the sore throat that stopped me Christmas dinner.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I might have to concede the sore throat title to you then.
Yeah.
So what's your digestion news? This time of year I'm expecting a very, very good run of form from you.
Well, obviously, the eating and drinking sort of starts here, doesn't it? So, maybe there's something good for the New Year show, perhaps.
Yeah.
What have I got? Well, it's not really news as such, but I just wanted to detail my preparation for the show today.
Yeah.
I've just had 2 very, very large bacon and egg buns.
Thick butter?
Yes, butter. In the loveliest, floweriest white vats.
Oh.
And a huge vat of hot tea to wash it down, which I'm nearly finished. But as a special Christmas treat to myself, I allowed myself to access the goodness that was in the tin foil that I cooked the bacon on.
Oh, yeah.
So I licked the foil, so obviously when you cook bacon, some of the goodness escapes.
Yeah.
The tin foil, and it's a flavour sensation. It's just wonderful. So I had a good lick on that.
Well, tune in next time for arterial plaque news.
Goodness is, it's got to be good for you. Something if it tastes like that. It's. I'd like to know if anybody else accesses goodness. Because you'll get meat goodness if you do a joint or something, which you use for gravy.
Well, in the not the Middle Ages, in medieval England, it was very, very much a staple part of the diet because meat was so expensive and rare. You had to consume every single part of it, and that included any fat/goodness that percolated out during the cooking process. So I think not eating goodness is probably a very, very recent development in our cultural cuisine.
I do have to say that I don't have fry-ups very often. I think I used to quite a lot when I was younger, but I don't now. I only have it very, very occasionally. So when I do it, I like to go large.
Yeah.
So.
Any ill effects so far from you?
No, well, I mean, it was the perfect preparation. I went and had a great big shit.
Yeah.
Textbook. Slid out, clean wipe, then bacon and egg butties and a vat of tea, I'm just, on top of the world. My gut I feel comfortably full, no pain.
Disappointing. It's like that. It's like in Glengarry Glen Ross when Al Pacino says to Jonathan Pryce, "Have you ever taken a shit that made you feel like you slept for 12 hours?" And all of a sudden, Jonathan Pryce understands the universe, buys real estate from Al Pacino.
I do have another little entry here. I was driving home earlier this week, and you must know that we're having a very severe winter here.
Yeah.
Fucking freezing and snow for the last...
But don't forget, global warming is definitely real.
Oh, yeah. So I think it's been, I don't know, a month or something of snow and, -10 or something. Anyway, the fucking washers on me car freeze up all the time, the squirters, yeah?
You wouldn't have thought that in a Volvo, would you?
Well, they fucking do. There's nothing you can do about it either. It's
email of complaint to the Swedish embassy.
Yeah, I mean, surely it can't take much to, put something in there just to heat the end bit up a little bit. I mean, come on, guys. I'm pissed off about that. Anyway, so I'm driving back from work. And I put the wipers on and the fucking squirters don't work and it smears a load of shit across it, I can't see a fucking thing.
Yeah.
So when I come to a set of lights, roundabout, I think I need to get something on the windscreen quick. So the only thing I've got is some really old, de-icer.
Yeah.
Aerosol type thing. I found it at work, and it must be, ancient. So I don't know whether they used to put poison in it or acid.
Is it like a picture of a bloke with sideboards and flares on the using it?
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, while they put the window down, and just squirt copious amounts of this stuff.
This poison.
All over the screen, yeah. And it just coated my hand and my arm, and it ran down my sleeve. I thought I don't care because I can see a bit now, so I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
So chucked it on the floor, and it was, I think, it must have been Monday because it was Tesco night. So I went to the Tesco, got me trolley, usual shit, and I'm in there, and obviously I've forgotten about the car journey, I'm in shopping mode now.
Yeah.
And there's a burning sensation on my hand. So, I started licking my hand. I put my hand in my mouth and sucked it a bit. I don't know why I did this, but it just seemed like, the instinctive thing to do to, you lick your wounds sort of thing, don't you? So I put it in my mouth and I got a salty taste in my mouth. And I thought, oh, what's that? Why have I got salt on my hand? And it was obviously the residue of the ice and stuff, and I thought, it probably can't kill you. They must design it so you can drink a little bit without, doing any harm.
Mm.
Anyway,
I'm not sure that's the case, to be honest. Don't you remember that thing in the news a couple of years ago about somebody who spiked a friend's drink with antifreeze?
I don't know. Anyway, I just thought, obviously I haven't got that much into me. Anyway, I kept on shopping, I didn't die or, puke or anything like that. But by the time I got home, my lips were incredibly sore.
Mm-hmm.
I looked in the mirror and my lips had turned to jelly. like it looked like they were about to fall off. It had like dissolved the top layer of my lips. And it was incredibly painful. It went all like a mottled, strange, So obviously, like copious amounts of water on it, and it was very, very sore for a couple of days. So not digestive as such, but I got some into me. So
Well, I know from my airline days that antifreeze is basically ethylene glycol, which is incredibly toxic. Not only is it toxic, but when you start to metabolize it, it breaks down into 2 different acids. So that's probably what did your lips in. So it's not acidic until it gets to work on your soft tissues, then it turns into 2 acids, the name of which I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Acid burning my lips off.
There you go.
Excellent.
Anyway, the case I remember about this bloke who got his drink spiked with antifreeze, he had a really bad do. He probably had a bit more than you and ended up blind and deaf.
Excellent. Well, not excellent, for him, but, interesting, excellent.
Yeah. I think it's probably one of the worst, if not the worst, poisons that you can find in the household, so well done you.
Yeah, I'll have to drink some more of
that. That is good work. So
have you got anything?
Had I had the chili toffee for the last show?
Chili toffee?
Yeah.
No, it's new to me, that one. Well, yeah, I think it's new to me, that.
All right, well, where I work, we have a larger than typical population of nice people who are grateful when you do things for them, as contrasted to like a normal company, which is largely filled with ill-tempered simpletons.
Mm-hmm.
So we fixed this woman's MacBook, and she brought us some sweets. This is a very, very regular thing. People often bring us like cakes or sweets or anything when we do things for them that we're actually paid to do. So I've never understood it, but they do. And the sweet she brought was chili toffee.
Yeah.
So I thought I do like toffee, and I'm really fond of chili, but I hate savouries in a sweet context and vice versa.
Yeah, good call.
Ham and pineapple, can't tolerate.
Oh, yeah, fucking that. What do they call it? Put that stuff on turkey as well. Cranberries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Be
cheese and apple. No.
Be one thing or be the other.
Yeah.
The rest of the lightweights in the department weren't that keen on the chili toffee, so I did go. And it wasn't particularly strong, but because it was suspended in a medium of toffee, toffee sort of packs into all the little gaps in your teeth.
I do.
And you have to, dig them out with a screwdriver or something.
Yeah.
It gave me a very, very inflamed mouth because the packed-in toffee lingered there for a good 5 or 10 minutes, and obviously when you got
a slow burn.
Yeah. So I was whacking this toffee into me, and it wasn't that strong to start with, but the cumulative effect after about 3 or 4 bits was really quite brutal, and no effects on the digestive system per se, but I felt like I'd eaten about 10 packets of Fisherman Friends. Anyway, it's time for not the digestion news, where we're going to examine some current affairs and topical events.
News that isn't digestion news. Digestion news. It's general news.
Do you have anything you want to throw on the table, or shall I start?
I did have something, but I forgot.
Great, that's top-rate journalism.
It might come back to me while you're doing yours.
Right, well, my thing is WikiLeaks.
It's a big topic.
It is, and I've got a couple of things to say about it. Number one, I reckon he did those rapes because he looks like a wrong'un. Number two, what's been revealed is all just so anticlimactic that I don't think it justifies the hoo-ha we've had. I mean, it doesn't really tell us anything that anybody with an ounce of perception didn't already know. It's just couched in slightly less diplomatic language than usual.
The only thing I would, pick up on with that is when he was originally accused of these, sexual misdemeanors. He was investigated. He attended the court. He was questioned. So there's not enough evidence. There's no case to answer. Blah blah blah. You're excused. Get lost. The WikiLeaks thing breaks, and then all of a sudden you've got everybody in the country. They have to go to a different prosecutor in a different district so they can put the case in again. And if he was just Joe Bloggs in the street, that wouldn't have happened. So obviously if he's done the crime, I hope he does the time. But I just think because of what he's done with the WikiLeaks thing, he's being pursued. And it's probably because it's the United States that are pissed off. And so, they want to say, no, it's the United States, we better do everything we can to, fuck him up. That's the way I see it. And I don't agree with that. I think that's wrong. Even though I think he's a bit of a twat. But, and I agree with you, what's been, released, that's fucking a big surprise. He thinks they're a twat and they think he's a twat and they try to do this, It's all stuff that you think, it goes on, I'm surprised it's not a lot worse, even more blatant. And I think most of it's gonna go away. But how, there's a couple of things, apart from that it's mostly shite anyway.
Yeah.
How do they know for sure that it's all true? It could be, he could release anything he wanted.
Yeah.
And say, it's so-and-so said, so-and-so said to so-and-so, this, how do we know it's true?
And he's just typed it in.
Yeah.
I never thought of that, but that is a point.
It could put anything out,
See,
because some of it is true, then they might think, and it could cause a lot of shit.
Yeah, I don't really see the hand of the US behind his Swedish legal team, because the Swedish government's not particularly closely aligned with the US, and I thought it just seems too...
maybe it's not that... Maybe sorry, go on.
It just seems too convoluted and improbable that 5 months before he releases this stuff, they set him up with two strumpets in Stockholm, and they're going to hang a rape charge on him. It doesn't...
Well, there is, option B.
Yeah.
The spotlight of the world is on their legal system, and they think, oh shit, we haven't really, done a good job here.
Yeah, we've fucked the paperwork up.
Yeah, and we balls it up. Shit, we better get after it. Because if it turns out that he definitely did do this thing, we're going to look pretty shitty. But it might be that. It might not be the USA.
Yeah,
it might be the fact that they're under the international spotlight.
I find that a bit more believable, because in my experience, incompetence is a lot more common than genuine evil.
Yeah, so...
I mean, it took them 5 days to get water into the Superdome after Katrina. I don't think they can organise fake rape trials in Sweden. It's just too difficult.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that they did that. I just thought they might have been leaning on the government just to say, hang on, do you think you might look at this one again?
Right,
just a little bit of that, I mean, well, he's a couple of, $1 billion, so, drag him back in,
He's also signed this book deal for $1.5 million with Random House, which seems a little bit hasty.
Well, he's got to make a crust, hasn't he? But
so, what was your news item? Was it that Iraqi drunk driver?
Iraqi drunk driver?
Yeah, the asylum seeker who mowed that 12-year-old kid down.
Oh, I don't know whether I can... The bile might be too, Yeah, we'll have to do that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's much basis for discussion.
No, you're probably right, it might sort of impinge his rights to a family life. I mean, that just fucking, No, probably best not to go there.
Right. We've already been in trouble in that department.
Yeah. I will leave that one, I think. Could talk about that bird who they just found, but that's it's not really very festive, is it?
the brutal sex killing.
You know what I think people should do? Why doesn't the government have incentives for people to fucking, work where they live? Why is there no incentive for that? Because I fucking drive, 25 miles in that direction, and there'll be some twat who lives right next to Wilton who drives to fucking Hartlepool to do exactly the same shitty, job I do.
Yeah.
Why is there no incentive, to encourage employers to employ people from in that area? Fucking answer me that.
Well, I've got two answers to that. One,
fucking tax.
Why don't you apply for a job closer? And two, how would you structure such an incentive?
I don't fucking know. Well, I don't know. Give them fucking, tax breaks or something, or,
Yeah.
Because you're going to get a huge amount of traffic off the roads. Which the government, I think wants. But having said that, they're getting a lot of money from all the fucking diesel I use, aren't they?
Yeah, the only way they could possibly do it is, put loads more duty on fuel, because you can't really tax somebody based on how close the postcode they live in is to the postcode they work, because it would just be too easy to fiddle.
Well, there's all sorts of tax relief for companies, isn't it, to encourage them to do certain things.
Yeah.
They're bringing in things for clean energy and fucking tax relief. That so, if an employee of yours, if your company has 500 people, employees, their postcode, if that falls within a 2-3 mile radius of where your company is based,
yeah,
you get tax relief. It doesn't have to be anything. That's simple, isn't it?
It is, but
it will encourage them to employ people in the first place who live near the company. It's got to be better for the company as well, because you've got no bastard, when the weather gets like this, you've got no bastard turn up for work. You can't get there.
Right, well,
you live miles away.
I don't contest it would be a good thing, but I think it would be a little bit open to fraud, because you just pretend to be living somewhere near your company.
Yeah, but everything's open to that shit, isn't it?
Well,
it's because we're not like ants enough. That's what it is. Should be more like ants or bees.
How about this idea then? We could have general purpose office buildings, because unless you're a fucking cobbler or a deckhand, you don't actually need to go to your job. So you'd have general purpose office buildings all over the place, and you just go down the street to yours, but you log into all your shit at your job at Wilton from there, and the bloke at Wilton goes to his local office facility and logs into his Hartlepool job.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that, but there's no sort of, where's the fucking, sensible fucking working things are, Who's looking at this sort of shit?
I think the only thing you could do to encourage that is to make fuel massively more expensive, which would be quite unpopular. Because if petrol was, I don't know, £5 a litre, it might be £5 a litre now for all I know, but if it was £5 a litre, then you wouldn't work in Wilton, would you?
No, I'd be living in a fucking cardboard box.
And working in an adjacent cardboard box.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only thing that would really make a big enough difference.
Anyway, it's a load of fucking shit.
Yeah.
Sort the fucker out, you fuckers.
Yeah. A point of sensible workings are.
Yeah.
Right, on to the song. This is a festive number, isn't it?
It has a festive feel. It's not a Christmas song.
Right.
But it's upbeat and sort of nice.
Oh, well.
And I really think this is a, really good song.
This is the breakthrough number.
Oh yeah, I think so. 2011 is going to be my year. Fucking, you heard it here first, folks.
Right.
Fucking, you can take that to the bank.
Candles is going to be your Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Damn right.
All right, take it away. Heartwarming stuff, well done. Any co-production credits on that?
Yeah, main man of the moment, Gordon Benison. Fucking fantastic job.
Right, get the diary out.
Dr. Brown is days from yesterday.
Dr. Brown is days from years ago. I found a little, picture. It looks like it's been cut out of a catalogue of a blonde lady's head.
Oh dear.
Very pretty blonde lady. And on the back of it, I've written, "Hey, we."
you doing some sort of like little cut-out finger theatre?
I don't know. It might probably had something to do with me fingers.
Oh God!
There's some other stuff. There's another page in there, but I'll leave that maybe for the New Year entry.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Oh God!
Right, here we go for the diary proper.
Right.
December the 24th, 1977. Today I watch The Man from Atlantis and White Christmas. Today Simon Rutter went home. 1978. I am very excited. I hope to wake up about 6 o'clock. Unluckily, Lucy is not feeling very well, so I might have to go down on my own. Rather sad.
You're making it sound like a military operation. It's like...
Well, we used to practice. We used to practice the, Christmas Day, turn the light out and pretend it was and go down, so...
It's like Operation Market Garden and you're para-dropping onto the bridge at Arnhem.
Right. On to 79. Mum looked for Sonic Ear downtown, but it was £18. I think that must have meant, I wasn't getting it.
What was Sonic Ear?
I don't know. Maybe some sort of listening spy device thing that didn't work. Anyway, but it was £18, so she got Crossfire, £11.50.
I'm interested by the absolutely forensic attention to detail on the prices.
Yeah, but I paid £5 of it. That must have been, quite expensive, I think. But I do know that I was talking about Crossfire because there was a programme on the 100 best toys ever with Wassy. And Crossfire was in it. It was an absolutely great game. I remember it well.
It involved firing ball bearings, didn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be allowed to do it these days.
Yeah. And I took it into school as my, when you could take toys in. I took it in. It was huge. It seemed huge at the time. To finish off 1979, I'm very excited. I did a lot of jobs. 1980, I watched Pollyanna, in brackets, the film. It was quite good. I have got my Speedo. It is the good one. I have got my present of Rutsby, Kath Graz, and Rick and Lucy. I don't think I go to sleep tonight.
It's interesting you give everybody Middle-earth names. Do you think you're referring to a bike Speedo?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure of it, yeah. I was fascinated with them around that time.
I remember them well because they were completely mechanical and not at all electrical, and they relied on a pinion that attached to the front hub and a mechanical cable drive that actually magnetically moved a Speedo needle. It probably slowed you down by about 25%.
And this looks a bit cramped, this entry here. This is 1981. Auntie Andrea got me a magnetic backgammon, backgammon set. I stayed up till about 2:30, opened my few presents, got Spike Milligan book, I guess, jumpers and a shirt.
I think Christmas had started to lose its magic by this point.
Yeah. Went downtown, got medicine for throat, and new bass for Twig.
Oh,
£1, yeah, CB radio.
Yeah.
It was £1 more I paid, £1 out of Graz's present to me. I don't really know what that means.
It's interesting the absolute fervour for Christmas at the start, and by the end it's all jumpers and I don't care.
Yeah, it's strange that I had a sore throat. I had to go downtown to get throat medicine.
That's not strange because you've always got a friggin' sore throat.
Yeah, but we talked about it, didn't we?
I've got to say I liked the addendum from the rear leaves better than the diary entry themselves.
Yeah, it was a pretty sort of mundane by diary standards.
Yeah.
It was all sort of anticipation and
Right, you have a look in the monster turbo sack.
Aye, get your sack out for the lads.
The turbo sack.
Right, do you remember last show Nick asked how to rip Blu-rays?
No.
Well, he did, and I said I was actually on the process of working out how to do it, and I would get back to him, even though it's not a very interesting topic.
Is it against the law?
Who knows? Probably. I mean, everything's against the law these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, make MKV, all one word, is the software you want. MakeMKV.com. I run it on Debian Linux, but you can get a Windows version. I think I would recommend you go for the Linux or Mac version in preference to that, because the Windows version probably won't work very well. So yeah, MakeMKV does it. You need a lot of disk space. The MKV file, when you've made it, is about 25 gig, and you need something that can play back the MKV file, and I recommend either VLC or Plex on the Mac to do that. So there you go, Nick. You're completely taken care of. Do you ever do any ripping of DVDs or Blu-rays or any of that?
No.
Alright.
I download loads of shit.
Alright. Have you got a media server and any of that jazz?
No.
No, you just keep them on various external hard drives and lose them.
Yeah. I've got about 8, I think.
8 external hard drives?
Yeah.
I've just done a massive reorganisation of all my data. I've finally got all on one server, so I'm quite smug about it.
Nice work. I'd love to do that. It's my dream. I hope I break my leg or something so I get a couple of work. I can do it.
Well, maybe you'll fall over on some ice and shatter your hip or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's actually quite cheap to do, because I got 4 2-terabyte drives and a RAID card for not a lot of money, and I did a RAID 5, so I've got 6 terabyte of storage, and one disk failure is not going to put me out of the game.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that.
Yeah. I've got no money.
Really?
Yeah.
You've always said that, don't you?
No credit cards. Yeah, but I suppose eventually I had to mean it. And I think that time is now.
Really?
So, Simon Cowell, if you're listening, mate, pick up the fucking phone.
I thought you can always get more credit cards from other companies, though, can't you?
No, they've stopped giving them out now because they realised it was a stupid idea.
That almost destroyed society.
Yeah, so they've stopped now.
All right.
And I did try to extend my credit limit on one, and, you just buy a few £100, and they said, ha ha.
So you've tried to do your bit. Oh, well. Right, a couple of music questions now. Nick's back again and wants to know what's the best album we like that's been recorded by somebody who's now dead.
If it's like ones that we, obviously if you're just thinking about the best ones ever, Michael Jackson's recently been added to the pile, hasn't he? So you'd say Thriller by him.
Yeah.
And that Kurt Cobain guy, he's dead, isn't he? He did quite a good album.
He did 2. So
Did he?
3 good ones, I would say. Bleed.
There was one, the one though, wasn't there?
Yeah, he never liked that one though.
Right.
Because it was, he went from Sub Pop to Geffen, and they foisted a different producer on him, Butch Vig, who mixed it so it would sound awesome on FM radio. So it was a very, very undynamic mix, but it sounded absolutely brilliant on radio, and Kurt never liked that.
Ooh. He was a miserable bastard, wasn't he?
He certainly was. I think mine would be Exodus by Bob Marley.
All right.
Which I think is an album I've come to appreciate as I've gotten older. I would have hated it when I was young, but I do like it a lot now. And it was when Bob was on the run from the Yardies, he recorded it in London, and some of the bitterness comes over in it, despite the sunshine reggae sounds.
Elvis, perhaps.
He's
dead, isn't he? Well, no, he might not be dead, so I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
And then what they call that guy with that one that wears the glasses?
Elvis Costello, Elton John.
Oh no, there's Buddy Holly.
Oh yeah.
quite like some of his stuff. No, but what they call that other guy with the glasses, the dark glasses, Roy Orbison.
Oh yeah.
I like him. He's dead, but I don't think any of the stuff that all the stuff that I really like, all the people are still alive. So if you can ask us that question again when a few more people have died, that would be better for me.
Right, we'll come back to that in a year or two.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a quite interesting question here from somebody called Mart. I don't know whether he means Mark or Martin, but he's saying...
It might be like Marta.
Could be. He says, does Dr. Brown Ale ever play any live gigs? If not, why not? Because it's impossible to break into the music industry if you don't. I'm paraphrasing. The actual question was much longer than this.
No, I've never played any live gigs. I think it's because I'm chronically shy.
Yeah.
For one reason. I think I need a band, I need that around me. I mean, I'm an average guitar player at the very best, I'm not a particularly good singer. I just like writing songs. So I may have to do that.
You currently don't have the setup around you to do it well, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that's bollocks really, because there's like plenty of like open mic things. I could just go and strum the guitar and get up there and do it.
Yeah.
I just haven't got the fucking bottle, so I'll probably deserve to fail.
It's a very depressing conclusion.
Yeah, So that's your answer.
All right.
If you know anybody who wants to be in my band,
yeah, get in touch.
Write in again. Yeah.
What would your ideal setup be?
What was a band?
Yeah.
Right, just the standard, drums, bass, fucking, lead guitar,
keyboard.
Yeah, maybe, but not, not required, but would be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've advertised for people before.
Yeah.
In this area who want, do some original material and, I'm a bit of an old twat, so, I'm sure that counts against me.
I don't think it does any...
No?
Nah.
Even though I'm sort of really, good looking and charismatic still. And I've got a youthful vibe about me.
Uh-huh.
And hair and teeth and all that shit. It's not too late. I might do X Factor or something. You
could do like quite a tight 3-number acoustic set and practice it mercilessly and just do that on an open mic night.
Yeah. What I wanted to do, I've got the green screen thing. I was going to do 3 numbers, use the karaoke track that my producers give to me, have that in the background, sing to it, then I was going to get Keith to superimpose a huge audience in front of me and put it across, put that onto YouTube. That's as good as, a gig, isn't it?
Well, it is in one way, but it's not in the way that you don't get any money for doing that.
I'm not really interested in being famous or any of that shit, but I like writing songs. And if I did like a dead good performer or band that I knew that I could get to do all my stuff, I'd be quite happy to, take a back seat and just get the money.
So you'd just be Bernie Taupin.
I don't want to do all that shit, I just want to...
Yeah.
Want money so I can stop doing the job that I'm doing.
Get your windscreen washers defrosted.
Yeah, shit, bollocks, shit.
Yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting question.
Yeah, it was good.
Right, this is a topical question from somebody called George, no second last name, but with a Brazilian email address. Who knows?
Hey, George.
Hola. What cricketer would we least like to have bowl at us? And I think I've chosen to interpret this as all time, because I think it makes it more interesting.
Oh, that's fucking easy.
Is it? Go on then.
Bob Willis.
I don't remember. Well, there's 2 bits.
He's so fucking ugly for a kick-off. Look at his fucking big, horrible, ugly face coming at you. And he's like gangly as fuck, He's just so horrible to watch him try and run and twist himself up, Just wouldn't want that. And he's quite fast as well, so definitely Bob Willis, keep the fuck away from me. And he's a twat now.
Is he? Why is he a twat now?
He's a twat. I've just heard him talking. He's a fucking arse. Nothing personal though, Bob.
All right, that's a very interesting choice and quite a good one, I think. Because, you can pick your fast bowlers, but I think you've also got to pick a bowler who's not shy about bowling straight at you. So... I think Curtly Ambrose would be pretty bad because he's like 6'6". Imagine that thundering down the crease toward you. But I think the one I'd least like to face would be Waka Yunus, who's really, really fast and isn't shy about putting it into your ribs.
Right, so it's like obviously, this is from a fear factor perspective. We've obviously been given this question, not who would be the hardest to score against?
I'm assuming that
that would have to be Shane Warne, wouldn't it? Even though he's a complete fucking twat.
Yeah, I'm assuming I wouldn't be able to score against any of them, so I just interpret it as fear factor.
Yeah. But I'm sticking with Bob.
All right, that's a very good answer. I didn't think of that. Right, so the answer is Bob Willis and Waka Yunus. Right, so I think we're going to wrap the show up there because we've gone very...
Oh, well, you've missed a question now.
Which one have I missed out?
What's the most you've ever eaten in one go?
Oh, you're right. Take it away.
I don't really know. It's difficult to gauge this, and what constitutes one go, one sitting. I did eat 12 Weetabix in a bowl once, which I thought was quite a lot. I think that maybe the most quantifiable one was this was in quite a short period of time. I had 7 quarter pounders with cheese in one go. And then I had a large ice cream and a fresh orange. That was at Darren's birthday.
Nice.
And he matched me, but I had the fresh orange just to trump him, because he had everything but the fresh orange, so I won, in inverted commas. I've probably eaten more than that, but to actually remember what it was, the quantity. I've had fish and chips twice, Whopper sausage in a shaping batter on new occasions. But again, there's fish and chips and there's fish and chips, isn't there? But
yeah, I can tell you really warming to the topic.
Oh, yeah. What about you?
The one that stands out for me was I can't remember the
chicken nuggets.
No, that wasn't really quantity, that was more nausea.
Yeah.
Because at the end it just felt like we were eating soap.
Yeah.
Christ, I can't remember the name. Anyway, there's a fairly famous pub/bar/restaurant in Bahrain called the Warbler, and they do a mega burger, which is 1 kilo of meat. And I wasn't living in Bahrain at the time, but I used to visit regularly on business. I went there and I had a go at it, and I failed. I couldn't eat it. But I had the opportunity to go back several months later, and because I'd done my groundwork, I did it and I finished it. Got a lot of kudos from my colleagues, but I was just so ill, and there's pictures of me on that fateful night, we were sat in a booth, but I was laid out on one of the benches in the booth, ghostly white, but with bright red eyes.
Yeah.
That's the one that sticks out for me.
I've done the Hope and Anchor in Greetham, they did a 32-ounce steak.
Oh, yeah.
With all the trimmings. There's a lot of trimmings. I've done that a couple of times. Washed down with 7 pints of pet leaf. And I can remember it. It was quite fun. I had to go out in the car park and walk up and down for an hour just to, regain my composure. On a regular basis, on every Friday, I used to eat an XL double Whopper with bacon and cheese, and an XL bacon double cheeseburger, and 2 super-sized fries for my lunch.
Did that
just a small lunch.
Did that cost about 40 quid?
Yeah, it wasn't cheap. And that was, I don't think I can eat that now. That was fucking disgusting. And I just used to just sit there on a Friday afternoon groaning, but I thought it was clever at the time, but it was fucking stupid.
Right.
You got your money's worth of that question there, whoever sent that one in.
Yeah, that was an awesome question. To think I nearly missed it.
Yeah, I'll keep you right.
Right, we are going to end the show there, so I'm going to say thanks for listening. And
yeah, thank you everybody, and have an absolutely splendid festive period. And
go to turbocast.podbean.com, and that's the only website you'll ever need.
See you next year, everybody.
Bye.